Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Khilafat by ex-brigadier Mustan Sardallah. In the previous session, I had given a list of about 11 ashabiyat, the companions of the Prophet, women companions who had played an important role in recording of hadith, in which I had mentioned that Hazrat Asha Razillah Ta'ala Anhu reported and recorded 2,200 ahadith, 2,200 ahadith, and given then I have given the name of other women, 10, 11 women as well, total 11. They played an important role in the enhancement of religious education. Likewise, teachings of religion by the women folk was also begun and carried out with great success by Mother Asha. Now we continue lesson 27, 22nd January 2023. We start with lesson 27. Thereafter, the women companions continued with this religious education for years and years. Apart from women, a lot many male scholars, reporters, and recorders of history and past people kept benefiting from their knowledge for decades. Hakim Trimzi, writing about his life, states that during the days of my childhood, I got education in ahadith, sayings of the Prophet, from 7 women scholars of history. Hakim Trimzi writes about his life, states that during the days of my childhood, I got education in ahadith from 7 women scholars of history. Ibn Qayyim has elaborated and explained about 22 women companions of the Prophet who were renowned for their knowledge of ahadith. 22 women companions of the Prophet ﷺ who were renowned for their knowledge of ahadith. The daughter Fatima of Sheikh Abdullah Hanfi, author of Tofa al-Fuqah, was a great religious faqih and scholar and used to guide the men. The daughter Fatima of Sheikh Abdul Hanfi. She, along with her father and husband, used to be the signatures on all the fatwas. She, along with her father and husband, used to be the signatories, the signatories on all the fatwas. Thus, the great roles of women in religious education, enhancement, and spreading of Islam are well recognized and cannot be underestimated even by the blinkered. In all periods and in all centuries, they have been religiously well learned, knowledgeable, and extremely important and useful women for the Ummah. In all periods, in all centuries, they have been religiously well learned, knowledgeable, and extremely important and useful women for the Ummah. The Ummah kept benefiting by them. Today, our Muslim parents should learn from those personalities. Today, our Muslim parents should learn from those personalities, must endeavor to the utmost and keep their children away from total worldly education, from race for money and fashions. Put them on seeking true religious knowledge. Put them on seeking true religious knowledge so that they succeed in both the worlds. So that they succeed in both the worlds. Should endeavor to the utmost to gather good, pious deeds which would save them from the wrath of Allah, should endeavor to the utmost to gather good, pious deeds which would save them from the wrath of Allah. How wonderful would it be if the children become a permanent source of enhancements of our pious deeds? How wonderful would it be if our children become a permanent source of enhancements of our pious deeds? Now, marriage, the basic level, we are on the modest and apprentice of Khilafat, and in that we touched upon the role of the women in Khilafat. We are on the role of the women in Khilafat. Marriage, the basic level of organization. The marriage bond is the first step towards human organization. The marriage bond is the first step towards human organization, which gives birth to a family and expands to become a part of the overall society. Expands to become part of the overall society. Due to its pivotal role as a fundamental unit of social system, the Quran has given detailed instructions about the institution of family compared to other aspects of human organization. The Quran has given detailed, due to its pivotal role as a fundamental unit of social system, the Quran has given detailed instructions about the institution of family compared to other aspects of human organization. Social disintegration under prevailing democracies would be one of the many factors leading to the collapse of the societies, leading to the collapse of the societies. As we are mentioned previously, in 2003 AD, 80% children in the West were living in single-parent houses, and you know what was the outcome of the morality in that society. Everything wrong became right. Every animal-like instinct was given satisfaction. On the other hand, the family of system and social cohesion of Muslims is strengthening the forces of Islamic revival with each passing day. It is no wonder that besides unitary domination and economic control, an unimaginable number of programs are directed to undermine the institution of family and social order in the Muslim world. Running Khilafat and Islamic State. Running Khilafat and Islamic State. Dr. Javed Iqbal writes, and I quote, "It is abundantly clear that the real emphasis of Islam is on the establishment of a community of faith being governed exclusively by the Sharia." I repeat, it is abundantly clear, he writes, Dr. Javed Iqbal, that the real emphasis of Islam is on the establishment of a community of faith being governed exclusively by the Sharia. Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as the head of the first, he continues, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as the head of the first Muslim state was indeed concerned with the formation and maintenance of unity among the Muslim community, that is Ummah, and its governance in accordance with the Islamic law, that is Sharia, its governance in accordance with Sharia. Around 16th, unquote, Dr. Zaid Kabal. Now, around 16th century AD, the impact of the West launched theories of such forces as individual freedom, nationalism, patriotism, secularism, constitution, and radicalism in the world of Islam. In the 6th century AD, 16, the impact of the West, under the impact of the West, launched theories of such forces as individual freedom, nationalism, patriotism, secularism, constitutionalism, and radicalism in the world of Islam. In the Ottoman Sultanate, Khalifa, as well as the office of Sheikhul Islam, were finally abolished by Turkish nationalists under the leadership of the most disgraceful man in Islamic history, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, in 1924, and Turkey, as a nation state, was declared a secular state. The bottom line is that although Muslims remained as superpower for close to 13 centuries and they developed some political institutions, but their deviation from the core principles of Islam, their deviation from the core principles of Islam initiated their decline. In spite of gradual religious decline, Muslim civilization reigned supreme for 1,000 years in science and technology, while Europe remained lost in its dark ages. Historically, Muslims continued to reign supreme as long as they continued jihad. Historically, Muslims continued to reign supreme as long as they continued jihad, fighting in the way of Allah, for which they kept developing superior, more effective guns, catapults, etc. There was a time the Muslims were ruling almost half the world, from North and Central Africa inclusive to the Great Wall of China. There was a time when Muslims were ruling almost half the world, from North and Central Africa inclusive to the Great Wall of China. But when they discontinued with jihad, their downfall ensued. But when they discontinued with jihad, their downfall ensued. According to this Dr. Israr Ahmed, out of the modern state structures, presidential system is more rational and closer to the early Khilafat. According to Dr. Israr Ahmed, out of the modern state structures, presidential systems is more rational and closer to the early Khilafat. The reason Islam poses a challenge to democracy is that the basic elements of Islam, which, if ingrained in any of these forms of governing mechanism, would not only result in an Islamic government, but also the best ever form of governance mechanism for human beings. For example, the established democratic systems are totally secular, lack the moral compass, the spiritual side, which the permanent norms of Islam can provide. For example, the established democratic systems are totally secular, lack the moral compass, the spiritual side, which the permanent norms of Islam can provide. Now, in running the Khilafat, following are necessary. I shall just mention them. In running the Khilafat, the following are necessary. One, Allah's sovereignty. One, Allah's sovereignty. Two, Quran and Sunnah have to reign supreme in totality. Two, Quran and Sunnah have to reign supreme in totality. Three, legislation according to Quran and Sunnah. Three, legislation according to Quran and Sunnah. A group of muftis are necessary for this task. A group of muftis are necessary for this task. 4. Consultation is required in matters where specific injunctions orders do not exist. 4. Consultation is required in matters where specific injunctions orders do not exist. 5. Separate electorates. 5. Separate electorates for Muslims and non-Muslims. 5. Separate electorates for Muslims and non-Muslims. 6. And last, the rule of Islamic Sharia. The rule of Islamic Sharia, the Hudud laws. Punishment for fornication is logging, for theft, amputation, and for adultery, stoning to death. For fornication is logging, for theft, amputation of hands, and for adultery, stoning to death. These punishments, when executed,